Getting unlimited charges on your weapons is a fairly easy process. Some of you may already know how to do this, so the first part of this video won't be anything new. The second half is going to explain how to handle multiple enchants, which isn't as widely known. So to get started, fortify enchants for schools of magic, reduce magicka cost of spells as covered in my TS guide number 10, the link is in the description. If you have no idea how to get started with trade skills, see the link to the playlist in the description. The 1.5 guide lays out the template for getting to our starting point in this video. At 100 skill with the required perks and a grand soul, your fortify school enchants reduce the cost of spells by 25%. These fortify enchants also reduce the charge consumption rate of weapon enchants. They go on 4 slots: head, chest, ring, and necklace. In this example, by using 4 destruction fortify enchants at 25%, not only do all destruction spells cost 0 magicka, but any destruction based enchants now have a charge consumption rate of 0. There's a link in the description to a table that shows what school of magic each enchant uses. Fire damage uses destruction. Now with 100 cost reduction enchanted, this fire damage sword will never lose charges. There's no longer a need to factor in charges and move the slider when enchanting. We can go all the way to the right to get the max amount of elemental damage possible. So this works great for those of you following my elemental weapon damage maxing guide, which is TS number 11. Link to that is in the description as well. So as you can see, beating on Jordis doesn't drop the charge bar at all, and eventually it fades from the screen entirely. With the normal legit trade skill loops, max skill, perks, and helm stacking, the highest level enchanting potion you can create is 42%. Using a 42% potion, you only get 30% reduction, which means you still need 4 enchants to break 100%, so there's no point in using a potion if that's your setup. However, if you are a vampire with the Necromage perk, you'll be able to start off at 49% potions, or even higher if you do the trade skill loop multiple times. I didn't bother for this video because 49% potions hit 33% reduction, so it wasn't necessary. At 33% reduction, you can equip only 3 pieces instead of 4, and still gain the exact same benefit. At 99% with a remainder, the charge consumption rate is still essentially 0. The bar does not move and still fades away over time like before, so Necromage vampires get the benefit of 1 free enchanting slot. But what happens when you have 2 enchants that are based off different schools of magic? You'd think that this would require you to have fortify effects for both schools, requiring double the amount of enchanting slots. This is not the case. For this next example, we're using the Banish enchantment, which is based off of Conjuration. Soul Trap and Fiery Soul Trap also use Conjuration, so this is a common situation. When you select Banish by itself on the weapon, you'll notice the weapon turns purple in the preview area. Switching to Absorb Health, which is based off of Destruction, you can see the enchant turns your weapon red in the preview area. If you're using enchants of different color, the visual indicator is a great way to do this quickly. When both are the same color, you are going to need to calculate this the hard way using dreaded elementary math. When Absorb Health is set to 10 points of health, the number of weapon charges is 165, which you can see on the right of the charge bar. Now looking at Banish, when we set this enchant to level 4, the amount of charges is 140. Since you get less charges with Banish at level 4 than you get with Absorb Health at 10, this means Banish will have the higher charge consumption rate. The enchant with the higher charge consumption rate is the one that is factored against your fortify enchants. It does not matter what school of magic the lesser consuming enchant uses at all. The higher charge consumption rate enchant is represented visually by the color. When we add our 10 points of Absorb Health, the weapon preview is red. When we add level 4 Banish, the weapon turns purple. Then when we move the slider for Banish down to level 3, the weapon turns red again. So this is showing that level 4 Banish consumes more charges than 10 points of Absorb Health, but level 3 Banish consumes less charges than Absorb Health. Back to beating on Jordis, with our 100% Destruction fortified, Absorb Health is completely disregarded using the level 4 Banish. We get our 71 hits before the weapon runs out because Banish uses Conjuration, and we had no fortify Conjuration enchants. After making the exact same weapon, but with level 3 Banish, the weapon is red instead of purple, and the Fortified Destruction kicks in. The bar doesn't move when attacking, and there's no option to recharge the weapon after several procs of Absorb Health. So here's another example using 2 weapons with the exact same effect, but maxing the sliders in different directions. Fire damage uses Destruction, which we've covered. Paralyze uses Alteration. The Iron Sword is enchanted with 25 fire damage and only a 1-second paralyze. You can see this reflected by the red glow around the weapon. The Iron Dagger receives only 1 fire damage, but it gets a full 5-second paralyze, which you can see reflected by the green glow around the weapon. For those of you who are okay with the restoration glitch, it is simple to get unlimited charges with only a single enchant. Here is a zero cost alteration necklace which fortifies the paralyze enchant to unlimited charges. As I start attacking, you see the charge bar fades away from the dagger offhand, but the main hand remains on the screen as the sword continues draining every single hit. After a few uses, the dagger is still fully charged, while the sword has a recharge option that you can see at the bottom. So remember that whichever enchant uses the most charges is the only one that needs to be fortified. The various perks for Schools of Magic will not help with this, since I know someone is bound to ask. Only the enchants make a difference. When comparing the charges, remember that it's very easy to look at the color. When the colors are the same, the smaller the number, the larger the drain. I hope this helps you. Ask any questions you have in the comments. Thanks for watching.